It's the moment you didn't know you're waiting for.
He is Carter.
He's Chad.
And this is the Irish 365 podcast.
Chad, this is Lou Holtz. That's head coach of Notre Dame for 11 years. Greatest experience of my life. They're starting a Notre Dame podcast this summer. I have a podcast as well, but it's not about Notre Dame football, although I wish there were. But congratulations on your success. And it would be nice if I could be on your podcast, but my schedule is so hectic. But anything that has to do with Notre Dame, I'm all for it. God bless you. Go Irish.
Welcome into the Irish 365 podcast, episode 18. We've got the Georgia Tech preview for you today. How we doing, everybody?
All right, welcome in.
Feeling good for this one?
I was guarded last week, admittedly.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling a little better this week.
Yeah. That might be a problem, right? Maybe we're not buying in. You're on the hype train.
You're not buying in?
Oh, I'm bought in.
Okay, I figured you were bought in.
I was bought in. I was feeling pretty good going in last week. But, I mean, it's an interesting one. Irish leaving the state of Indiana since August 31st was our last, leaving Indiana game back down in Texas. So it's kind of crazy. We're in the middle of October.
Yeah. I mean,
we got to go.
Last time we left the state was A&M.
Yeah.
And then we're going down to Atlanta this weekend, and then following up with a trip to New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey. Yep.
And then the bye week.
Yep.
And then obviously back home against the dreaded Florida State, which is the game everybody circled.
Yeah.
It's the night game.
Yep.
It'll be a game we're going to try and get a lot of recruits in because the night game is it'll have all the hype, but the opponent.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling better about it. I mean, I was starting to feel really good until the news broke about BMO.
We were feeling very solid Sunday morning, Saturday night. We're feeling good. Did the podcast Sunday. Obviously, if you listen, we're feeling good about the team. And then, you find out your best player, your first round draft pick, your All-American, one of your defensive leaders, one of the two big defensive leaders.
The captain, the stud, the guy.
The guy, yeah.
And I'm mixed on it, right?
Out for the year at the hip.
Yeah, I'm mixed on it because I know it was it Miami of Ohio or Louisville where he went into the locker? It was Louisville.
Yep.
He went into the locker room early. Came back out and played.
Yeah.
So is
with this hip, right?
I don't know if that was his hip, but I think it was. So now it's a situation where this is lingering, and listen, the kid is a first round. He's one of the probably a first round, early second round pick.
I've seen projections this year where he's 15, 16 range.
Which he's got everything he needs on film. I mean, he's played against Heisman Trophy winners. He's played against top receivers. He's got nothing left to prove. There's no benefit to him staying on. He's better off to go get whatever it is taken care of, get healthy going into the draft. I mean, why do you go to college? You go to college to prepare for your professional career.
Yeah.
His is going to be football. It's pretty clear his is going to be football. So I don't, as a fan, I wished he was healthy and would finish out the season. But for him, it's probably a situation where he's doing more harm than good. Get healthy, and he'll represent us well. We'll be seeing him on Irish in the NFL at the stadium next year for sure.
He's played against some great quarterbacks, and he played against the number 1 overall draft pick, a number 2 overall draft pick, and a number 3 overall draft pick.
Yeah.
And I think he let up less than 7 receptions between the 3 games or something ridiculous like that. I saw the stat the other day, and I should have wrote it down. But, he played against Caleb Williams, he played against Stroud, and he played against Drake May.
So, he started playing as a freshman. True freshman. And I think I saw his career stats at Notre Dame, average reception yards against him. And this is counting not plays that going his way and plays that just didn't get caught or whatever, but less than 0.8 yards average play against him.
Yeah.
So that
yards per attempt on him, was it, I think?
And yards per attempt was 4.
Yeah.
And I think early in his freshman year, they were throwing at him 70% of the time until he proved himself.
Yeah.
And I think this year, I saw they were throwing his direction 12 or 20% of the time. Something low. So he's done everything we could ask. Now, you go back and you say, wait a minute. He stepped on the stage and he showed as a freshman, he was good.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. As much as you hate to lose BMO, you can't afford to lose BMO. You can't afford to lose BMO because we got Shepard and we got Hobbs. And I said it in the preseason preview, I'm big on Hobbs.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be much better than people expect. I think Shepard showed to be really good in the time he's played. We know that Clark can move into the corner role from a safety.
Yeah.
We know we've got some versatility. Now, we can't afford a whole lot more injuries in our secondary.
No, definitely not.
Is our secondary worse without BMO? Yes.
Yeah.
But is it still elite? I think we still are. I think we've got, and so this.
I mean, you can never say that you didn't lose talent when you lose a top 15 draft pick.
No, you're not replacing him.
Yeah.
So if I'm, are we going to be less disciplined in the secondary?
Yeah.
Because now you're opening up the right side of the field of horses. Not.
I mean, you got to cover it all.
Now the offense can look to the right when they want to throw the ball.
Yeah.
But I still think we've got guys that can play and play well and play at a high level. I don't think we fall that much. We do fall.
Yeah.
But I don't think we fall that much. I think that's, and if there's anything in our favor, and it's hard to say there's anything in our favor, we do not have a real passing threat of a team until you probably get to Army or USC.
Yeah.
But even Army.
Yes, you did say Army.
Yeah. It's weird I said Army. But I mean, I think everybody else on our schedule is a run first team.
Yeah.
And
Georgia Tech's.
They're a run first team.
I know they're a run first team, but they can
throw.
Yeah.
Navy's a run first team. They can throw. Army's a run first team. They can throw.
Yeah.
I don't know who the quarterback is at Florida State, but
yeah.
But
they'll throw it to us.
They'll throw to us if it's DJ, especially DJ like you. I mean, he should have come to Notre Dame because he likes Notre Dame receivers.
Yeah.
Or at least Notre Dame backs.
Yeah. Why do you think Cole Kmet's been having so much success this year?
That's right.
Caleb Williams loves to throw to the Irish.
So anyway, all that being said and done, I think there's never an ideal spot, especially if Jaden Mickey wasn't doing, like if Jaden Mickey was still on the roster, I'd feel a lot better about it.
Yeah.
So that situation just exacerbates everything.
Yeah.
But I also look at where we're at, and if it has to happen, it's going into Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
That's going to be run first. Then it's going to the Navy. That's going to be run first.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go, the bye week, and then we're going to go into Florida State, which I think won't be lights out passing. And it's like, okay, Virginia, I'm not freaked out about Virginia's passing game on us.
Yeah.
I'm not, Army will throw. So that'll be a challenge, but we've got 4 games to get ready for that Army. And then Army it'll be a step up from Army to USC. So the only team I'm concerned about right now is being a big impact, because again, we're not as good without BMO as we are with him, but I think we're good enough. I don't think anybody, we've got above average corners across the board, even with our freshmen. And I don't think anybody we're playing to USC has above average receivers.
Yeah.
So it sucks, but hey, get healthy, BMO. Yeah. We called you out. Probably the injury was the reason we had to call you out. You played great the following week.
Yeah.
I just hope it's nothing serious. He gets healthy. He gets well. Yeah. He looks great in the combine. He gets that, 15 to 16 draft spot, and goes on and has 15 years career, and makes the Hall of Fame, because we can't ask anything more for him as an Irish fan. You can't ask any more from that kid.
We can't talk about him leaving Notre Dame, because all sides, there's 1% chance he comes back next year, if even that high. I mean, we can't talk about his career though without talking about that Clemson game. Right? I mean, that was the BMO coming out party. We were there. Me and you went to that game. Decided to go very late in the day. Yeah. Very happy we decided going. Got some last minute tickets.
We were home side, south end zone, 10-yard, 15-yard line.
Yeah.
And 7, 8 rows up.
Yeah. I mean,
all the scores happened. The
pick six
right in front of us.
Right in front of us. He took that ball. When they were driving, it was just oh my goodness. What a freaking night. So yeah, I mean, that, we talked about it back in the preseason, some of our favorite Notre Dame games of all time, and that's definitely up there. So he holds a special place to it. I mean, I know all Notre Dame fans like him, but it was that's one of our favorite games we've ever been to all time.
Oh yeah, that was electric.
That was my first time ever storming the field, and he just, what a night for him.
Yeah, and so I genuinely hope that he gets healthy soon. Yeah. He can make the NFL Combine, and he can put the stats, and he's got to get healthy.
Yeah, and
then he's got to rehab so that he doesn't do an Audric Estime and put up a really slow 40 time that is going to hurt him.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think he has to show anything on film. He's just got to go. He's just got to go put good numbers up in the combine.
Yeah.
His draft stock's up. And I think because of the injury, if he doesn't participate in the combine, that could hurt his draft stock. But hey, there's something to be said if you can slide from the 15th spot to the 28th to 30th spot.
Yeah.
I mean,
you won't be playing in Indianapolis.
You might get drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs and have a run of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because Caleb Williams went number 1. Look where he's at.
Yeah,
and he'll probably be better in 2-3 years. But it's tough sledding. And I mean, I always think about Peyton Manning and how he leads the NFL for rookie interceptions. So didn't hurt his career, but the first couple of years of Peyton Manning in the NFL were rough. So yeah, we just want BMO to get healthy for his own account. I know that he was being courted away from Notre Dame in the offseason, and he decided not to leave. He had large amounts of money being thrown at him, but he didn't leave. He stayed with us. It sucks that he's going out this way because I was hoping they would. I don't know if he's academically a senior yet. I don't know how much work he's done. I know he's technically a junior, but I don't know if he's done enough over the summers to get him. But maybe he would have participated in senior night and had that whole celebration, and his family. And I'd like to have him had that experience, even if he did it a year early. We all know he's going to the NFL. We all know this was his last year. Just thinks that it's halfway through the year we lost him instead of the end of the year.
Yep.
But who knows? I mean, maybe he gets healthy. I don't know how serious this injury is, and if something happens, we make the playoffs, then. He thinks he can go, because there was talk about him not being able to play to start the season.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I'm going to go against A&M. I think everybody forgot about that, but there was question about his health coming into the A&M game, and he said, no, I'm going to go. So if Notre Dame can go undefeated the balance of this regular season and make the playoffs, I don't know if this injury will prevent him from being able to come back, but he's a guy I could see coming back and playing the playoffs, just because he wants to play.
Yeah.
But right now, I think it's okay, I got to shut it down and get healthy.
Yep.
So anyway, it sucks. I felt like we had a really good shot of making the playoffs just because of the way the schedule lines up. And now I'm a little more with USC, and we'll just have to see how we do. Lincoln Riley always able to throw the ball. We'll get USC's best effort. So we'll see.
All right, well, let's get into this week's game. We got Georgia Tech heading down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean...
And I've not been inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I know you have.
Yep, I've been inside Mercedes-Benz one time for a soccer game. Great atmosphere. Absolutely fantastic stadium. And
I know Caden is jacked about going to Mercedes-Benz because the rumor is the inexpensive concessions, $2, $3 hot dogs and
$5 to $7 chicken strip baskets. Yeah, good price, good food. Chick-fil-A potentially in the stadium.
I think there's a Chick-fil-A in the stadium.
I remember reading that back in 2017 when they opened up, but obviously the big thing was the Falcons are the main team that plays there, and
they're closed on Sundays.
Chick-fil-A's closed on Sundays, so that's kind of ironic. So I haven't I assume Chick-fil-A's still in there, but
headquartered in Atlanta, I got to believe they're still in.
Yeah, would assume so with the other stuff going on there. But yeah, 71,000 stadium or seats 71,000 built in 2017. Big feature though is that 360 scoreboard and that roof that kind of opens up at the top.
Opens up like a camera lens kind of thing. So
yeah.
Very cool facility. I drove by the outside, but I've not been in it. So I'm excited about that. The other thing is, I think we looked the other day, and there's still quite a few seats that
haven't been sold.
Not even resale market, like face value seats that have not sold. There was a whole section, I think, that you showed me.
Yeah.
So now I kind of expected it to be 40% Notre Dame fans at a minimum.
Yeah.
Now, if there's Georgia Tech doesn't dominate the state of Georgia.
Right.
I'm not even sure Georgia Tech dominates the city of Atlanta.
And Georgia plays Texas Saturday.
Exactly. And
in Texas, but
there's going to be a lot of people who would rather go watch that game on TV than go see Georgia Tech play Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So I don't know that Georgia Tech regularly sells out their home stadium, which seats much less.
Yeah.
Now, shout out to Georgia Tech because we got to go in 2020 and see Notre Dame at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And for both of us, it was about keeping a streak alive. Going to see Notre Dame in person every year,
at least once.
And I mean, I am 30 plus years in, and you're probably 18 to 19 years in.
Yeah.
19 years in. So I mean, it was
getting old. I had to think. 19.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, yay, Georgia Tech. We were socially distanced. There wasn't anybody for 40 yards from us. It felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably more like 10.
3-4
rows ahead of us.
Yeah.
3-4 rows behind us, and then 10 feet to the right, 10 feet to the left. So back when social distancing was a thing, even outside, that was the first time I'd been to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
To a game. I'd been to the campus before, but never been to a football game. I would like to have had the full experience, but I don't know that they normally sell out unless Notre Dame comes to town.
All right.
So
they sell out Georgia. Yeah, they sell. Yeah, like they sell out the big games, but
the big games.
They're not selling out every week.
So I think it'll be, there won't be a home field advantage.
Yeah,
I don't think to Georgia Tech. I think the stadium was probably, from what we saw, potentially 10 to 15% empty.
Yeah.
And then if it's at 80% capacity or 85% capacity, the fan base could be split pretty close to 50-50, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. So, that could be interesting. So even though it's a neutral site / road game, it may not have that feel. It may have a home game field.
Yeah.
Plus we got cheap concessions. So we originally, we're going to fly down. We got round trip tickets flying for like $70-some, and then the airline changed the
flight time.
We're
flying down Saturday morning.
We were flying down Saturday morning. We were going to get in at like 12:30.
Yeah.
And then the airline pushed back the flight, and so it wasn't going to get until like 3:30. And we're like, "There's no way this game's getting flexed to 6:30 at night game. There's no way we can make that work."
Yeah.
So now we're going to drive, which for us is about a 9-hour drive.
Well, you're driving.
Yeah, I'm driving. You're going to still fly down you got to work Friday night, so you're going to fly down Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I happen to have to be in Nashville this week, so we're going to push the Nashville trip.
Cade's got fall break.
Cade's got fall break.
Worked out real nice.
We're going to just push it back, and he's going to hop in the car, and Chris is going to hop in the car with me. We're going to drive to Nashville Thursday. I'll work on Friday, and then we'll drive on in Saturday morning to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So at least we're going to break up the drive. Now, the worst part about it is Caden has a tournament for his flag football team that starts on Sunday. So we've got to get back home Sunday. And I do not know, as the time of this podcast airing, I don't know what time that game is, but I'm afraid it's going to be a 1 o'clock semifinal.
How would you think it was not 11 a.m. or something?
Gosh, all I know is we'll be here.
Yeah.
And if I have to get up at 2 a.m. and drive, we'll be here.
Yep.
Interesting. But my co-coach on his flag football team, he listened to the podcast for the first time this week, and I got some text messages from him.
Man.
So
nice.
So we got
shout out
potential new listener, but he had some good questions. We talked about a few things. Texted
getting ready for the tournament. Can't blame him.
That's right.
Got to lock in.
We're thinking through it. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting travel week, and then we follow it up with what we call the business trip out to New York or New Jersey the following week. So I'm excited about this game. So let's break the game down. I guess that's the thing. So what do you know about Georgia Tech?
All right, Georgia Tech. I mean, got a quarterback king, 1,568 yards this year, clean 71.2% of his passes, 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception.
Yeah,
doesn't throw picks.
But
and he's also very.
Is he healthy?
Yeah, I mean that's a question, right?
Right. So
and he's very mobile though when he is healthy. 6 touchdowns on the ground and 5.7 yards per carry.
So I know the Vegas line started with us.
Yeah, I was going to get into that 8.5 ish.
Yeah.
So what comes out? BMO's injury, and then all of a sudden, like it was just ironic because it happened like right after. Within 48 hours from Monday 8.5, the line's pushed to 12.5. As far as 12.5, I've seen 11.5, 12.5 ish. But yeah.
So I didn't think, from what I initially heard, the Georgia Tech quarterback, he got injured at the end of the previous game, but not enough I thought would keep him out of the game.
Yeah.
So does Vegas now think it's enough to keep him out of the game?
Yeah.
So if he doesn't go, I think that's them losing their quarterback hurts them more than us losing
the corner. Yeah.
Like, as big as BMO's loss is, I think they're a bigger drop off.
Oh, 100%.
Like we have a drop off in talent. They have a bigger drop off.
A star corner is not going to move the line more than half a point, at max, if anything. But yeah, a starting quarterback is going to move that line in any situation.
So again, he may be planning to play, and it just may be gamesmanship saying he's not going to go and keep Notre Dame off balance and guessing. But we'll see. I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. What else we got?
All right, so the running back Haynes averaging 5.6 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns so far this year, and he's got 60 more carries than the next running back. I mean, they're feeding this dude the ball. They don't have a 1-2 punch like we talked about back with Purdue, having 1-2 pretty balanced. They don't have a 5-punch like Notre Dame does. That's their guy. He's going to go run the ball for them.
Yeah. So their quarterback's Harris King, and then their running back something Harris, right?
Haynes.
Oh, it's Haynes. I think it's Haynes King is the quarterback, and then something Haynes is the running back. Is that right?
I don't remember what the quarterback.
Seems like there's a name similarity there. Maybe I've got it wrong. It's a name. I probably do have it wrong. But so yeah, I think that's interesting on that front. But from what I can tell, Georgia Tech isn't balanced.
No.
At all. I mean, they're a run.
Jamal Haynes.
Yep. That's the running back.
Yep.
Now, what's the quarterback's name?
Is Haynes King. You're on it on that one.
See, I'm not as crazy as I thought. Well, okay. I was actually kind of right on that one.
Yep.
And I'm usually terrible with names. Betting and names are the two things I stink at.
Yep.
So, all that being said, I think you look at it and you say, okay,
the ball.
They're a run-first team.
Yeah.
And we have historically had that South Bend but don't break defense giving up the run.
I got some interesting things for you, but yeah, keep going on this.
So I think it's an interesting matchup in that respect. What they want to do is their strength is probably attacking our weakness.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the other way around on offense versus defense. What we're going to want to do is throw the ball based on last week, and that is by far their weakness.
Yep, their defense. I mean, we talked about this coming in the season. I think it was like 31 points per game last year. They were scoring, but they're letting up 32.
Yeah.
Like they put up points last year, but they could not stop nobody. And they've gotten a little bit better at that this year. It's not as bad, but they're still struggling on the defensive side of the ball.
And they're still probably, I haven't looked at what their stat is.
Yeah.
They're 5-2.
Yep.
Their two losses are Louisville and Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
I think they lost Syracuse by 2.
Yep.
And they lost to Louisville by, it was like 31-19.
Yeah, 31-19 on the nose.
But they're probably averaging high 20s in scoring this year.
100%.
I know, like, maybe it's VMI or somebody. They put up 50-something, and, they beat Florida State, 26-24, I think was the week 1 score, or week 0 score. Something like that. They beat Florida State by just a couple of points, and that looked like a great win at the time because
24-21,
so it was 3 points. But that looked like a great win at the time because everybody was crowning Florida State ACC champion lock for the playoffs, and that hasn't played out the way they did.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. What did you say Notre Dame's biggest strength was defensively? Bend, don't break, right?
Bend, don't break.
So let's go to that third side of the ball that we haven't had a whole lot of chances to talk about yet this year. Special teams. I don't know if you did any digging on the special teams this week, did you?
I did not.
Georgia Tech 6 for 11 on field goals this year.
Wow. Okay, that may change.
From inside the 30, he's 5 for 5. He has not kicked anything from 30 to 39. From 40 plus, 1 for 6.
Wow.
Long of 44, that's all he's hit.
Wow. Well, okay.
So, I think that plays a big favor into the Irish defense. So, it seems like we've been giving up field goals. It's like if he can't kick anything longer than...
Yeah, if they can't get inside the 22, 23-yard line.
Yeah.
They got a very good chance of not making it.
Yeah, and kickers know their stats. They know what they've been doing in games. They know, and coaches know this. Are they not... It'll be interesting to see how much they trust him this week. But yeah, 1 field goal longer than 30 yards this year.
Well, we've talked about this before. Like, there is a natural swing that a kicker is comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then there's at this distance, I've got to hit it harder.
Yeah.
And I can only compare kicking to golfing. I can't do either.
Yeah.
But I think it's a situation where the kicker gets in his own head at some point.
Yeah.
Because you're on an island. You don't practice with the rest of the team. It's the one time that in football it's clearly an individual on display.
Yeah.
Like even though the whole operation of the snap, the blocking and the holding is so critical, most people don't understand the technicalities that go into a successful field goal operation. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Digging into special team stats this week. But yeah, if you've got a kid that can't kick, you can't get points on the board there. That's going to be...
Yeah. So I've got a score in mind.
Oh, man, you had some field goals?
I had
some field goals for Georgia Tech.
But maybe my score will still hold.
Yeah.
It'll just be a missed extra point.
No, he's perfect on the year on extra points.
Well...
That's why I didn't bring those up.
Well, Yeah, but maybe. Maybe there'll be a penalty and they'll push the extra point back. There'll be an offsides.
Yep.
All the Notre Dame fans in the stadium, we're going to get really loud. We're going to force them to jump offsides.
On the extra point. Yes, I like that. If that happens, we're on it.
Yeah, put a bet on that on the parlay.
Yeah, can we get a false start on an extra point? Yeah. I did not see that one out there. Well, maybe Jordan saw that one.
Yeah, we'll check in with him.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's interesting. So I would think that again, hat tip Notre Dame.
Now we are indoors.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, if you're missing kicks, you're missing kicks. Your confidence is low. Okay. I'm just saying, like, no wind. Like, I don't.
If you told me all the 30-yard plus kicks were during a hurricane wind,
I know. I'm just saying, like, we're indoors, something easier to kick theoretically.
Yeah. So did you happen to catch if I know you got the stat? Were any of them blocked or were they just missed?
I did not see that.
Okay,
but I'm assuming he didn't get 5 blocked.
Well, if there's a poor sign,
I feel like we would have.
You'd heard about it.
Yeah, we would have heard about it.
It'd have been on some sort of sports media.
Yeah.
So, but that's interesting. I mean, that plays in Notre Dame's favor very well.
Yep.
Right. So,
but remember, they did beat Florida State by a field goal.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, okay, yeah, they'll get in field goal range. I don't think they'll score. I think they'll get in field goal range.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll give up a couple of field goals. That's interesting. So yeah, now Georgia Tech. Let's go break it down offensively, right? Mm-hmm. Like we talked about their quarterback. He's a running first quarterback who can throw, and he's a pretty good thrower.
Yep.
So is he healthy? And that's the $1 million question.
Yeah, something we're obviously not going to know. I mean, maybe they don't even know at this point. Like, is he going to be healthy enough to play Saturday? I mean,
and if he's healthy enough to play Saturday, will he be 80% or 100%?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a wild card. I'm going to go into the game assuming that he's 100%.
Yeah, I think that's what we got to do.
That's my assumption.
You got to do that,
and
you got to plan for that. So, and I think Notre Dame's planning for that, right? You don't go in planning for some guy to be 70%. Like,
and what I've seen of their offense, and I haven't studied it a ton, but what I've seen is they do a lot of, short intermediate throws.
Yep.
And they let their guys run for big yards. They like to run the ball first.
Yep.
So if we're playing our typical South Bend don't break defense, they're going to have 3 and 4 yard plays available to them all day long.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to move the ball on us, but I just don't know they're going to score on
yards. Yeah. Yards will be higher for them, but.
And what I think will be interesting, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week. I saw last week defensive just attitude.
Flip the switch, right?
Yeah, attitude.
I mean, now they've been playing bad at all this year, but just like
they were like NIU, they were out there going through the motions. Last week against Stanford, could have easily gone through the motions with a lesser opponent. And I would say Stanford was worse than NIU as opponent. I think NIU gave us a much better game than Stanford.
Yeah.
But there was an attitude. So if we can bring that same level of intensity defensively.
If that's an every week thing.
If that becomes the new standard for the defense, I think it can. If it does, I don't think the Georgia Tech offense is going to be as potent against us as they have looked against other teams.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the Florida State game. I wished I had.
Yeah, I watched some of that. Yeah.
I'd like to know how Georgia, because I think Florida State has athletes.
Mm-hmm.
How did Georgia Tech, was it just the running quarterback made the plays when they broke down?
Yeah. I mean, it just was like Florida State did not, I don't want to say didn't want to be there, but like we talked about this before the season, like a coach losing the team. Like that's what it just seemed like. And Georgia Tech definitely took advantage. They knew what Florida State's weaknesses were. And then, I mean, they were out athletes. It's Florida State. Like, Florida State's going to have good players, but I mean, they just were the better football team, not the better athletes.
I think Georgia Tech took advantage of the fact that Florida State, all they had to do was show up.
Yeah.
And Georgia Tech,
which for many years, Florida State would just have to show up against a Georgia Tech team.
Yeah. And I think that's the fortunate thing we have, and we talked about this a little bit already last week, is if we come into this with hey, we don't take Georgia Tech lightly because if we do, they can beat us.
Yeah.
If we come in with that defensive intensity, I can see us, despite all the things they're going to try and do, what they like to do, I think we can still, even with BMO out, we can play with the corners we've got. We can play man, which we do 50+% of the time.
Yeah.
We can play man, and still their receivers aren't that great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Louisville had much better receivers.
Oh, yeah, that Jacoby Brooks. Still high on him?
Oh, yeah. But Louisville just across the board had a better receiving room than what Georgia Tech does. Not saying Georgia Tech is bad. I'm just saying Louisville was better.
Yep.
And so I think we match up better than people expect.
Yep.
If their quarterback's healthy, they're going to get some runs. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to slow down the clock. They're going to limit our possessions. But if their quarterback's not healthy, I think this sets up favorably for us.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're just gonna do score predictions and parlays here in a minute, and we're gonna assume that their quarterback's healthy going into this. At this point, Wednesday night,
a lot can change. He's gonna. Right. I assume he's gonna play.
Yeah.
How healthy he is, we'll see. Right.
I agree.
So I think that'll be an interesting mix. And then when I go to the other side of the ball and I look at Georgia Tech's defense, they are good against the run, but they're not better than Louisville.
No.
They are terrible against the pass.
Yeah.
Slightly better than Stanford.
Yeah.
And Riley Leonard
has confidence right now, it seems like.
So I got to believe that we ran a lot of RPO against Stanford. We're going to see a lot of RPO against Georgia Tech. I'm expecting a lot of RPO. And I got to thinking about okay, we saw Riley Leonard starting to flash as a quarterback against Louisville. Then he got jumped on, and we were kind of like, okay, he didn't throw the ball as much after that. Maybe he was a little injured, a little beat up, a little boomed up. But he came out and, to my surprise, he was slinging the ball and looked like a different quarterback, much better quarterback. So now I'm starting to believe it's sustainable for him.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking about, okay, he's made a lot of improvement in the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's probably improved, because if you look at it, our offensive line has started to gel.
And
we knew what it was going to be 5 weeks because of the Jagasol loss and this and that and the other. And, Rocco Spindler, he was written off.
Yeah.
And, he was getting bypassed by younger guys. And he's come around and, he had his best game ever in a Notre Dame uniform. And I'm a big Rocco fan from the fact that, this guy's grandpa was a lifelong Notre Dame fan. He had a really cool, video when he committed.
From Michigan, right?
Yeah, he's from Michigan.
He's the best players in Michigan go to Notre Dame. Yeah.
And he's a huge man.
Yeah.
And I think his dad played NFL. So he's got all he's starting to come around.
Yeah.
And which is awesome. So I think as the offensive line has gotten better, that's helped Riley Leonard have more. And there was time Riley had time in the pocket last week.
Yeah.
So as Riley's gotten more comfortable, I think that they're going to run the RPO. I think the only thing we've got to be concerned about offensively is we've got to get the receivers trusting that Riley Leonard's going to make those throws.
I think we're going to see a big step in receivers this week, though, because they have game film showing that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing now.
Oh yeah, you can
now. I mean, they might subconsciously been going through practice. Man, we're not going to get the ball this week. We're going to do. I mean, because that's what they went for 4 weeks, right?
I'm going to run my route. This dude's going to miss me.
I bet you this week in practice they're like, I better be ready because he's going to hit me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta be right. And you're seeing, all right, these corners aren't that good again. We should have matchup issues here. We should be, if we're getting these looks, I'm gonna have a ball over the top and I can go score any play.
So yeah, my expectation is we're gonna pass the ball. We're gonna pass the ball well because that's the weakness of Georgia Tech's defense. And once we start doing that, we're gonna slow down a very good. I shouldn't say very good. We're gonna slow down a good, not great, run defense.
Yep, make them.
And we're gonna run the RPO, and that's gonna open up. It's going to open up for Riley. It's going to open up for Love. It's going to open up for Price. All three of those guys, and Anias Williams, and
Kendrick Young. Yeah,
Young. I mean, those guys are going to get opportunities. So
we'll throw Kendrick Young back out there. He's not going to play more than 4 games. I would they try to redshirt him. Though.
Yeah, but you know what? At this point, can he play corner if we get desperate? That's all I need to know.
Yeah. All right. So. I mean, do you want to get in score predictions now? Or you want to get into parlays? What are you thinking?
Well, let's go score predictions,
and
then we can go parlays.
All right, let's hear it. What you got? What you got for this?
So,
you said a couple field goals. You changing, or you sticking with?
No, I'm sticking with it. Yeah. I'm feeling like a touchdown and 2 field goals for Georgia Tech.
Yep. 13,
and quite honestly, I kind of feel like this game's going to probably be 14-7 at half.
Mm-hmm.
I think Notre Dame's going to start off a little sluggish, and they're gonna have time of possession the first half. They're going to slow us down. I think we're going to be efficient, but we may only get 3 possessions the first half.
Okay.
I think 14-7 halftime, and then I think it's going to just maybe 14-10 at halftime. But I think it's going to turn the tide somewhere in the third quarter. We're going to break it loose because we're going to start really passing with success. And that's going to open up the run game. And I think we're going to end up with 31-13. 31-13 was
31-13.
like kind of where I'm at.
All right, we're kind of close this week. I'm similar. I think the game's close at halftime. Maybe it's not as close as you. I'm thinking 14-3 at halftime, 14-7. Like, we're up. We've got a decent lead. You're not feeling like, oh, crap, like, are we falling apart? But, like, we've got a lead, but it's not 28-0.
Yeah.
I'm going 38-17 final score.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. 5 touchdowns, a field goal for the Irish. And then I think it'll be 38-10, and Georgia Tech would have scrapped the score late.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of going the other direction because we're going to have some inexperience in corners, and they're going to want to run the ball first. And they're going to throw a lot of just trickery. Because I think we saw that from Stanford. Like, there was some trickeration early attempts, and we took a series. They got a score early, and then once our young guys settled in and understand, like, trust your eyes, don't let this. So I think they'll score their touchdown early, and then we'll shut them out late.
Yeah,
you're kind of going the other direction. They're gonna, if we weren't playing our second and third string in the corners, I would say, okay, we're gonna have lockdown, and then we're gonna get those young guys experience late, and that's when they're gonna score when it means nothing. But I think it's the other way around. So we'll see. But yeah, I feel pretty good about this week. I was fretting Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech's a better team than people give them credit for. But just on paper and just what I've seen, like, there's Notre Dame should be able to win this game by a couple scores. Yeah. So all right. What do we got? What do we got in the betting parlay?
All right. So Jordan sent his in.
All right. We have video.
No video.
No
video this week. And I don't want to, like, speak for Jordan, but in the text he sent, or the email he sent us, text, email, all that good stuff, he said he was inspired by me last week. That's right.
Wow.
Inspired.
Oh.
He won a big parlay this week. So Jordan went for a plus 900.
Wow. Well, kudos to that.
7-leg parlay.
7-leg. Ooh.
7-leg plus 900. So let's get into it. Jeremiah Love touchdown. How do we feel about that?
I like that. I like Jeremiah Love. Well, that's just enough. I just said I liked it.
Yeah, I was going to say he scored every game this year, so that seems like free money right there. But I mean, free money until it's not. You're not going to like this one, though, with your score prediction. Georgia Tech over 13.5 points.
Yeah, see, I'm not on that one.
Notre Dame over 26.5 points.
I like that one.
Notre Dame to win the first half.
I like that one.
Bo Collins, 35-plus receiving yards.
That seems like a no-brainer this game.
Jeremiah Love, 40-plus rushing yards.
40-plus rushing. That should so happen.
Yeah. And his big thing was this week is he's like, Jeremiah Love didn't get a lot of touches last week. This is they're ready.
They got to make up for it.
No, they were getting him ready for this week. I think it was his take. So
yeah.
And then this would be the interesting one to me. Jamal Haynes, 50-plus rushing yards. Is he healthy? Or Haynes is the running back. I was thinking.
Haynes is the running back.
50-plus rushing yards. So
I like that one.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, he'll get 50 yards again.
I mixed him up now that you threw me off with the Haynes thing.
Yeah, because I was like, Haynes, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Haynes, 50-plus rushing yards. So I think it's got some. There's nothing I hate on that. I mean, Georgia Tech, I think, can for sure go over 13.5. Obviously, King's healthy. That'll play a difference in it.
It's a 7-leg parlay.
Oh, yeah, plus 900.
One or two are not going to hit, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't make a 7-leg parlay.
Oh, you make them all for winners. Come on now.
But I like that. For a 7-leg parlay,
you like a lot of them.
I think
plus 900, so yeah.
I think I'm feeling good. I think it's got a chance.
Yep.
It's got a chance to make Vegas mad.
Yep. So I wanted the big one again this week, but I wanted to give people a lock. All right, because I know some people don't like the big ones. They just like see the money coming back in the account. And I completely understand that.
Yeah.
So I made 2 this week. So and yes, mine's more than plus 900. So it's
okay.
Yeah, but my first one. So plus 204 odds, 3 legs. Notre Dame on the money line, just with the spread back and forth, not knowing the quarterback status. It was like, okay, let's go on the money line right now.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard touchdown on the ground.
That seems like on the ground.
On the ground.
So that seems like a real. I mean, they're going to get that quarterback draw inside the 10, 15-yard line.
And Jeremiah Love touchdown. That's the 3 legs. Plus 204.
That's plus 204.
Yeah.
That surprises me that it's that high.
So you got Notre Dame on the money line. It's a 12.5 point favorite. You've got Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love just getting the end zone.
Yeah.
Plus 204. So that's why I was going to go a bigger one. I was going to go just do a bigger one. But when I saw those odds, I was
Has there been a game where Love and Riley haven't scored on the ground?
Like Jeremiah Love scored in every game. Riley scored 3-1. So maybe there was one game.
Love doesn't have to score on the ground. Love just has to score.
Right. But I'm saying I think
Riley Leonard both scored every game.
Riley had 3 in one game. So does that make? I think that means he didn't score in one game. I'm trying to think what game it was. Has he scored in every single game?
I think he has.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that just seems like.
So that seems like a really. I'm surprised it's a plus 200.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna just do a big one this week, and then I was like, I saw those odds, and I was like, I gotta put that one out there.
That almost feels like a lock.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost feels like a lock.
Yep. So all right, you ready for the big one?
All right, what's
plus 2,000? Only 3 legs though.
Only 3 legs plus 2,000. Oh, you shot for the freaking moon on this one, didn't you?
Are you ready for this one?
All right, Elon Musk and
I don't think you're gonna hate
it. And SpaceX won't be able to save you on this one.
I don't think you're gonna hate it. You're gonna be mad how much you kind of like it. And you
okay?
All right, so spread's 12.5.
You better hope I hate it.
Spread's 12.5 right now. Yeah. I altered it to 13.5 because I was like, if it's gonna be, I don't like that 12.5 line. I'm like, okay, let's do the full 2 scores, 14 points. So I got that. Chris Mitchell touchdown. He played really well last week. He got in the end zone last week.
Yeah.
I think Riley Leonard and him started had connection.
And again, Georgia Tech, we should be able to throw the ball.
All right, right into my next point. Riley Leonard, 3 touchdowns in the air.
I hope that hits, and it could.
Yeah.
That's the one that's
you feel confident on 2, don't you? But that third one,
2, I feel pretty good about.
That third one,
because I mean,
you know what a Riley Leonard 3+ touchdowns in the air was though by itself, plus
1,500,
plus 800,
plus 800 just on that. Because I could see a very easy
And I think he had 3 last week, right?
Yeah. Well, we had like that little pass to Raritan out of the back. Like the screenplay to Love that we had a couple weeks ago. Like, I mean, and
you were talking about how bad the Georgia Tech corners were.
I know.
Don't forget it.
So I can see us making big plays getting into the red zone,
but
and then running it in.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just like, you know what? And I almost just did that one, but I was like, no, I think Jay Love's gonna get in.
I don't hate it as much as I thought I was going to when you told me what you said was plus 2,000.
That was kind of
I really don't hate it as much as I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
And you want me to hate it because better chance of being right if I'm wrong. I'm better chance of me being wrong.
Yeah.
It's
not terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Riley Leonard 3+ passing touchdowns is still a lot. Like he hasn't been consistent like every single week in, week out. But it's just like the matchup I like a lot, and I like where his confidence is this week.
Yeah, he's going the right direction.
Yeah.
And what I'm really curious to see on the Riley side is like he played the best football he's played against Stanford.
Yeah.
Now, is there another step
up from that, or is that max?
Has he now peaked?
Yeah.
And can he? If he's peaked, then can he sustain it? Because even if he's peaked, I think we're a much better team if he sustains it.
Yeah.
I still think there might be
a little bit more to go.
I don't know that Riley Leonard has to play better.
Mm-hmm.
I think the receivers have to play better for his stats to get better.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's never been a 5,000-yard passing guy.
Yeah.
He's never been even a 3,000-yard passing guy. But if the receivers can just get over this mental hurdle that he can't get them the ball and they play better, I think his numbers get better really quick.
Yeah. He's not he went for 227 last week. He might be a 275 guy if we make a couple more catches.
Yeah, so I don't think we need to see Riley Leonard get better at this point as much as the receivers just need to be more confident in him.
And I don't want to say not better. I want to say they need to have more chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they just need to be more confident in him that he's going to make those throws and get him the ball. And his stats will go up if that happens. And so if we can make that progression, and I think it's good to be playing a Georgia Tech team that I think I saw Stanford's secondary was ranked like 101 or something. And then I think Georgia Tech's secondary is ranked like 80 or something like that. I mean, it's better, but it's not a ton better. And Louisville was a much better defensive team than Georgia Tech. And I think Louisville was a better offensive team than Georgia Tech. And we know that we came out early, got some breaks, and went ahead of Louisville. And they came back. But I just don't think that Georgia Tech is the team that knock us off this year.
Yeah.
I just think there's too much in our favor, barring any injuries.
And
And I will say this. I think we could sustain an injury at any position except the corner and then I get nervous if there's any more corner injuries. Like if, God forbid, a running back gets injured or receiver gets injured or even Riley Leonard gets injured. Like I have all the confidence in the world if Angeli comes in and has to play against Georgia Tech. We'll make Angeli pass, please. Yeah. Because he'll pick you apart. Yeah. So I think we're in pretty good shape there.
Right for this weekend.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Ready to get back on the road.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some warmer air. I haven't looked at the temperature in Georgia because it doesn't matter.
About the same here as Indiana.
It'll be 70 in the dome.
Yep. Okay. That'll be interesting though. What they pull the roof this weekend or not? You can see it going either way.
Was there a prop bet for pulling the roof?
I did not see anything. I did not.
What's the temperature going to be? Like
70,
50s?
72.
72?
Yeah, that's
I could see them open the roof at 72.
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, it won't matter. 72, it'll be comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's no rain, the roof's open.
3:30 kick. I mean, it's middle of the day. It's not going to be like it's dropping a crap ton at night right now, but it's like middle of the day.
No rain. Yeah, the roof will be. I'll go roof open.
All right. Well, since I'll go the opposite, then we'll go roof closed. We'll let you know.
Okay.
We'll go see on TV. I'm sure.
So and then look for Caden to give a report on the concessions. He's overly hyped about it. He's going to be really disappointed. It'll be like the first Notre Dame game we get to, and like they ran out of ketchup. Like what? Like they didn't run out of ketchup. They didn't put out enough ketchup. Yeah. But it should be a good experience. It should be a fun trip. Maddie's not going to make it with us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
She's
working,
man. That job keeps getting in the way, but
craziness out there.
She needs income.
Yeah, she'll be watching on TV though, I'm sure. So she'll give us let us know what's happening on the broadcast.
And because she's got to give us her feedback. We were on campus last week.
Yeah,
we didn't get a chance to have her on the pod, but there was a Freeman cookie that was consumed.
Marcus Freeman cookie,
and her and Caden, I both had opinions about it.
Yeah,
I had an opinion about it, but
we don't care about.
I had a bite,
huh?
And so we need to get them on and make
the experts in here.
We need to get them on. Maybe we can pull that off after Caden's flag football team wins a championship. Yeah. We can have the get together here on the pod and in the studio, and they can tell us about the Freeman cookie from the previous week, and Caden can give us a lowdown on the Georgia Tech, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium experience. So
definitely.
All right.
Well, appreciate you guys listening to this episode of the Irish 365 podcast. We're excited for this game against Georgia Tech this weekend. Definitely going to be a good one.
Yeah. Let's get at it. Go Irish.
Go Irish. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Irish 365 podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcast.
We are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Irish 365 Pod.
And you can always reach us at our email, irish365pod@gmail.com.
Good night.
And God bless.